Antonio Tony Salerno was born on July 2, 1911, in East Harlem, New York City. He was of Italian descent, the son of immigrants from Sicily. Growing up in a neighborhood rife with crime and poverty, Salerno was exposed to the underworld from an early age. His upbringing fostered a connection to organized crime, which would ultimately shape his future. Salerno dropped out of school at a young age and quickly became involved in petty crime. He began working as a racketeer and joined a local street gang, laying the foundation for his eventual rise in the mafia hierarchy. In the 1930s, Salerno became associated with the Genovese crime family, one of the 5 families that dominate organized crime in New York City. His early criminal activities included extortion, loan sharking, and illegal gambling. As World War II unfolded, the mafia's influence expanded into various legitimate businesses, such as the construction industry, which would later play a crucial role in his operations. This involvement allowed him to launder money and exert influence over various contracts. By the 1960s, Salerno had risen to a prominent position within the Genovese family. He became a capo regime, or captain, and managed various criminal enterprises, including drug trafficking, racketeering, and labor union corruption. His ties to labor unions, namely the Teamsters, allowed him to exert significant control over the construction industry in New York. He was implicated in numerous criminal activities, including the infamous Pizza Connection drug trafficking operation, which involved heroin smuggled from Sicily through pizzerias across the United States. This operation further solidified his reputation and influence within the mafia. In 1972, Salerno's power reached even greater heights when he was appointed underboss of the Genovese crime family, taking over a significant portion of the family's operations after the conviction of its previous leaders. This promotion placed him in direct competition with other crime families, notably the Gambino family led by Carlo Gambino, and it became apparent that intra-mafia rivalries would shape the landscape of organized crime during this period. Despite his success, Salerno's criminal empire faced increasing scrutiny from law enforcement. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, federal authorities intensified their efforts to dismantle organized crime, launching a series of investigations that targeted prominent mob figures, including Salerno. In 1985, Salerno was implicated in a massive RICO case. The case against him was bolstered by testimonies from former mob associates who turned informants, revealing the inner workings of the Genovese family. In a dramatic trial, the evidence presented against Salerno was overwhelming. In 1986, he was convicted on multiple charges and sentenced to 70 years in prison. After his conviction, Salerno continued to exert influence within the mafia from behind bars. He maintained communication with associates and directed some of the family's operations, although his power diminished significantly due to his incarceration. He spent his remaining years in various federal prisons, including the notorious ADX Florence, known for housing high-profile criminals. Salerno's health deteriorated during his time in prison. He faced numerous health issues, including diabetes and heart problems. He died on July 27, 1992, at the age of 81, while serving his sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Terre Haute, Indiana. Tony Salerno's life and criminal career illustrate the complexities of organized crime in America. He was emblematic of the mafia's transition from traditional racketeering and extortion to more sophisticated operations involving legitimate businesses and drug trafficking. His influence over labor unions and construction contracts highlighted the intertwining of organized crime with legitimate industries. Salerno's legacy is one of both notoriety and caution. His eventual downfall serves as a reminder of the persistent efforts by law enforcement to combat organized crime, particularly during the late 20th century. The RICO Act, in particular, became a powerful tool in dismantling mafia families, significantly impacting figures like Salerno. Salerno's legacy is one of both notoriety and caution. His eventual downfall serves as a reminder of the persistent efforts by law enforcement to combat organized crime, particularly during the late 20th century. The RICO Act, in particular, became a powerful tool in dismantling mafia families, significantly impacting figures like Salerno.